In the shadowy corridors of modern occultism, few names evoke as much fascination, dread, and cosmic intrigue as the Typhonian Order. Born from the restless imagination of Kenneth Grant, one of Aleister Crowley's most enigmatic successors, this order stands at the crossroads of Thelemic magic, Lovecraftian horror, and extraterrestrial mysticism. It is a fraternity not merely concerned with human enlightenment, but with the unveiling of realities that lie beyond the stars, beyond sanity, and perhaps beyond the very boundaries of existence itself. The Typhonian Order emerged from the New Isis Lodge, an offshoot of Crowley's Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, founded by Kenneth and Steffi Grant in the 1950s. Grant had been deeply influenced by Crowley's teachings, particularly the Book of the Law, which proclaimed the dawn of a new aeon, the Aeon of Horus. But Grant, ever the visionary and transgressor, believed that Crowley's revelation was only a fragment of a larger cosmic unfolding. He proposed that the next evolutionary current, the Typhonian current, was already stirring in the invisible planes of consciousness. Where Crowley had looked to Egyptian and solar symbolism, Grant turned his gaze toward the primordial serpent, the goddess Typhon, and the dark womb of the cosmos, the night of Pan. To Grant, Typhon represented not mere chaos or destruction, but the feminine polarity of the universe, the matrix through which consciousness could access dimensions of non-human intelligence. The Typhonian current, he claimed, was the awakening of this primal energy, a current older than the gods, older than humanity itself. Unlike many occult groups fixated on ritual purity or moral dualism, the Typhonian Order embraced transgression as initiation. The path of Typhon was not one of light or darkness, but of expansion beyond limitation. An alchemical journey through the subconscious, the astral, and the extra-dimensional. Grant taught that beneath the familiar archetypes of gods and demons lurked forces from beyond the human biosphere, entities that humanity had glimpsed in mythology and, more recently, in the chilling fiction of H.P. Lovecraft. Grant's writings suggested that Lovecraft's fictional horrors, such as Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth, and Nyarlathotep, were not mere imagination but psychic transmissions from extraterrestrial planes. These entities symbolized gateways to zones of consciousness that defied reason, morality, and even form itself. For the Typhonian adept, ritual magic was not only a means of self-transformation, but also an attempt to make contact with these transmundane intelligences, to expand human awareness into non-human modalities of being. The rituals of the Typhonian Order were labyrinthine, surreal, and often dreamlike. Grant's instructions were filled with cryptic symbols, sexual alchemy, and astral projection techniques designed to breach what he called the Mauv zone, a term for the liminal dimension between human consciousness and the cosmic unknown. The Mauv zone was both a literal astral space and a psychological metaphor, the place where the known collapses into the unknowable. To traverse it, adepts practiced a form of magic that fused Thelemic ritual, tantric sexuality, Kabbalistic symbolism, and imagery drawn from Lovecraftian mythos. A typical Typhonian working might involve invocations of Nuit, Set Typhon, or Aiwass, the being who dictated the Book of the Law to Crowley, alongside visualizations of stellar gates, serpentine energy currents, and subterranean temples beneath the stars. Grant's lodges were known to conduct dream workings, where members recorded nocturnal visions believed to be messages from trans-dimensional intelligences. In this sense, dreams, art, sexuality, and ritual all became vehicles for the same pursuit: to awaken the alien within. In the Typhonian system, Set Typhon was not the demonic adversary of Osiris, but the dark god of initiation. the force that opens the gates of the underworld and liberates consciousness from the bondage of form. Grant reinterpreted the Egyptian pantheon through a cosmic lens. Set represented the principle of isolate intelligence, the divine spark of self-awareness that resists dissolution into universal unity. This principle found resonance in later Setian currents, including the Temple of Set founded by Michael Aquino. The Typhonian Order also emphasized the Nightside Tree of Life, or the Qliphothic Path, the shadow reflection of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. Each sphere, or Qlipha, represented not an evil realm, but a hidden key to transcendence, concealed behind layers of taboo and fear. The adept's task was to navigate these dark spheres, not to become corrupted by them, but to integrate the shadow and reclaim totality of being. Kenneth Grant's genius lay in his ability to fuse ancient Egyptian myth, Crowleyan magic, tantra, and cosmic horror into a single occult philosophy. His interpretation of H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos was revolutionary. He claimed that Lovecraft, unknowingly, had tapped into the same astral current that Crowley accessed through ritual magic. Both men, according to Grant, were prophets of an ancient and alien gnosis, the revelation of great old ones whose return symbolized the next stage of human evolution. In Grant's worldview, these entities were not literal monsters, but forms of cosmic intelligence, existing outside linear time, manifesting through dreams, art, and magical invocation. Their purpose was not to destroy humanity, but to transform it, expanding perception beyond the constraints of the physical and moral order. This reinterpretation reframed Lovecraft's horrors into archetypes of awakening. The madness induced by encountering the Old Ones was, in Grant's philosophy, a necessary breaking of human limitation, the shattering of the ego before the vastness of the cosmos. Central to the Typhonian path is the feminine polarity, embodied in the goddesses Nuit, Lilith, and Mauv, who represent cosmic gateways and the generative power of the void. Grant saw the sexual act as a microcosmic reflection of cosmic creation, a fusion of opposites that opens portals to other planes. His writings explored tantric and Vamamarga left-hand path practices, not for hedonistic purposes, but as a means to contact the primordial forces of creation and dissolution. Art, too, was sacred. Grant collaborated with visionary artists like Austin Osman Spare, whose sigil-based art and concept of atavistic resurgence profoundly shaped the Typhonian philosophy. Spare's technique of using symbols to access pre-human memory aligned perfectly with Grant's notion of awakening the sleeping powers within the DNA of the species. Though shrouded in secrecy, the influence of the Typhonian Order rippled across modern occultism. Grant's Typhonian trilogies, a series of 9 dense, dreamlike books, remain among the most cryptic yet compelling works in esoteric literature. Titles like The Magical Revival, Cults of the Shadow, and Outside the Circles of Time serve as gateways to an inner mythology that blurs the boundary between occultism and cosmic science fiction. The Order inspired countless later movements in chaos magic, left-hand path orders, and Lovecraftian occultism. Its imagery found echoes in underground art, dark ambient music, and even pop culture depictions of interdimensional horror. Yet, true to its nature, the Typhonian Order itself remained elusive, more a living current than a formal organization. After Kenneth Grant's death in 2011, his followers maintain that the Typhonian current continues to flow through those who seek contact with the beyond of beyond, the zones of consciousness where dream and cosmos intersect. At its heart, the Typhonian doctrine teaches that the universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine. Humanity, bound by its senses and cultural conditioning, perceives only a thin slice of the total spectrum of existence. Through magic, dream, art, and initiation, one may begin to expand that perception, to touch the cosmic vastness, and perhaps to remember our origins among the stars. To walk the Typhonian path is to embrace the abyss not as annihilation, but as revelation. It is to face the alien and the monstrous, to recognize in them reflections of our own hidden divinity. The adept learns that the outer darkness is not evil, it is simply the unknown, waiting to be explored. The Typhonian Order stands as one of the boldest and most imaginative attempts to unite occultism with cosmic consciousness. It dissolves the line between spirituality and science fiction, between magic and the multiverse. To follow its path is not to seek comfort or safety, but to confront the ultimate mystery, that within the heart of chaos, there is creation, within the abyss, awakening, and within the alien, something profoundly human, the spark of eternal curiosity reaching toward the stars.